Alright guys, this is going to be patch 0.37. Coming into it, the patch goes live tonight at 7 p.m. PST. Or not live, maintenance starts. This is pretty much everything that's changing. We're going into preseason, so of course, you know, there's going to be a lot of changes. So let's kind of get into things. We'll go over Nathapon at the end. Keep in mind, Season 3 starts on August 5th, okay? Your LP for Season 2 will be finalized once maintenance begins. So if you wanted to climb, you could have like a few more hours to do it. If you're watching this video on YouTube though, that shit's passed, sorry. Season rewards are based on your LP at the end of the season. Preseason rank does not affect season rewards, but your LP will undergo a soft reset. Nathapon, really neat character. Emotes and skins coming out. This is a nice Sylvia skin, this is a nice Kiara skin. The emotes coming out look great. I can't wait to pick up this or this. Both of these will probably become my part of my mainstay emotes. So first big change of the game, Alpha and Omega are being added. Alpha and Omega are basically watered down versions of Wiccaline that have abilities themselves. So let's start. Alpha spawns at the start of day 2, right? He'll spawn in alley or uptown, and the location will be announced 1 minute before spawn, like how Meteorite is. He has an ability where he'll charge this, and then you get knocked back. It looks like it knocks you back to the left, exactly how Magnus does. So make sure you're not standing to the left of a wall. This would be good practice for Magnus. He's guaranteed to drop Mithril and a recon drone, and then 1 rare or uncommon material that is not moonstones, right? So the way this reads, he technically could drop 2 Mithril, I guess. That'd be interesting. Omega spawns on day 3, right? He spawns in either uptown or alley, depending on where Alpha did not spawn. So he'll always be on the opposite end. Same ability, you know, slams you to the left, does damage if you slam into it. The difference is that Omega takes more damage when being hit with a skill, right? So use your abilities on Omega. You don't have to use abilities on Alpha. We don't know how strong they're going to be yet, but the next thing is that he has a second ability. It looks like what? Releases a surge of AF, knocks enemies into the air, dealing damage. This is different than what we're being shown here. Because that's the wall slam. Okay, this seems weird because it looks like the wall slam exactly like his, you know? So maybe it'll work differently once we're in game, but it looks like he has the wall slam that Alpha has from the video. It's showing both? I mean, yeah, but it doesn't say he has both. It just says he has the passive and then pulse. Shows it after. I understand, but it's not saying he has the stun, you know? It just says after channeling, release a surge of VF and knocks enemies into the air, dealing damage, you know? So it's like, if he has Arc Blade as well, then they needed to put that here. There's no reason for it to say that Alpha has Arc Blade and then Omega has VF Pulse. It's at the top of his skills? Oh, he does. Okay, never mind. I'm sorry, guys. My bad. He does have both. I don't know why they didn't put the description there. That makes it, like, easy to kind of gloss over like that. Oh, well. Regardless. Doesn't stun. It doesn't in the video, but it's supposed to, as you can see here. Being knocked into wall stuns enemies. So we can almost guarantee that this footage, the stun wasn't added yet. Or maybe she's just not hitting the wall. You know, Hyunwoo's can relate, right? But the notes do say that you will be stunned, so we can assume that on launch it will stun. Omega drops a Force Core, as well as EMP drone, and then 1 rare uncommon material, excluding Moonstone, so you could get Meteorite and you can get Mithril. Same here, you could get Meteorite and you could get Mithril. So anyways, I don't know why this isn't loading. That's very weird. Okay, so this is how it looks. This is the acceleration. Okay, there we go. Acceleration influx parameter. When you walk through it, you're gonna get movement speed, right? For 30% for 2 seconds. It goes away when someone walks through it. So if you're being chased by someone and you walk through it, you will get the Hey guys, it's me, Motive Games. I'm just here to remind y'all that if you're enjoying the content, drop a like and hit the subscribe button down below. Maybe leave us a comment knowing what kind of content you'd like to see going forward into the future. My editor does a really good job on these videos and works really hard, and any little bit of insight you can give us on what you'd like to see more is really helpful. Enjoy the video. Movement speed, but they won't. It comes back in 7 seconds. If you do anything, it's a lot like the boost in the beginning. If you do anything other than move, you will lose the movement speed. So keep that in mind. They're changing how Tree of Lives work, right? So night 1, hotel and cemetery will spawn Tree of Life, right? Day 2, alpha spawns. Night 2, forest and hospital. Surprise, surprise, hospital has a Tree of Life now, will spawn their Tree of Life. So there is no longer a day 2 Tree of Life. So there will be less instances of people getting Scotty and Glacials online super early. It also means if you miss one of the first trees, you're gonna have to wait a lot longer. The fact that there's a Tree of Life spawning at cemetery should help some people. It helps routings, I'm sure. So yeah. Omega spawns, and then I don't understand this. This is Wiccaline, sorry. So Wiccaline has VF blood sample, right? So I think what's happening now is Wiccaline will no longer have Force Core. It's being removed from her. It's being given to Omega. So Wiccaline won't be as important. VF blood is still very important for certain characters, but sometimes it's like the least important item on the thing. Which spawns night 3 now. Yeah, it's getting pushed back quite a bit. Timings are changing for everything, and it's really gonna fuck everyone up for a little bit. And that's even being exacerbated by the fact that day 1 is now 20 seconds longer. So the game pace is being slowed down, you know? This games will take a lot longer to go through, but there's more objectives to fight over, so I think it's better. Initial bat spawns have been pushed back 20 seconds to help compensate for this. 2 Tree of Lives will spawn on day 1. Tree of Life will no longer spawn on day 2 mornings. Tree of Life spawns on night 2, same area as we said above. Alpha and Omega have been added. More meteorites, and they will spawn frequently. A total of 4 will spawn. 1 will spawn every day-night cycle, starting from day 1 night. 3rd and 4th meteorites spawn 20 to 40 seconds later than the cycle change due to complications in the code. They'll be fixed in a future patch. So the meteorite count isn't synced up just yet like everything else is, but it'll come eventually. So don't worry about it too much. If Wiccaline or Alpha and Omega are alive, they'll be displayed on the map now, so you won't have to worry about that too much. Tree of Life, and you'll be able to know where they are, you know? Tree of Life meteorites will show up on the map if they're collectible, so you won't have to like scroll all the way fucking over to Hotel to see if it's still up. You can just look at the map now. And they're being implemented in the scoreboard map feature. So when you hit M or tab, preferably tab, I guess, because when you hit M, it's just going to show you what things are up and aren't. I don't know. Vision improvements. Vision and Fog of War have been improved accurately along the map. So basically, there were areas where we were getting vision that we shouldn't have. All right, so we can't see it, but the examples they used were like, when you're going into pond, you know how you can see on top of the hill if you're coming from the bottom end? That doesn't happen anymore. You won't be able to see on top of the hill. So vision is actually being corrected for Z access now. There's just areas where you shouldn't be able to see, like on the other side of the Tree of Life in forest, that now it's gonna be a little bit better. I'm gonna take a second to close up some of the rooms and see if that helps the heat in here. It's fucking hot. HP bar color for team modes, that's whatever. Hyperloop after use. So now when you Hyperloop, you can't be damaged for a second, you know? However, you can't use attacks or skills or items for that, and you're slowed for 1.5 seconds. So what this means is you can no longer like fuck with people when they're TPing into a zone, so it makes TPing a little safer. But there's half a second where they can hurt you and you can't act. So keep that in mind. What's up, Catch Reddick? Gameplay improvements. First big change, crit strike damage is being reduced by 10%. So crit builds are seeing damage reduction across the board, and stun impact will also be nerfed because of this, obviously. Vision range at night is also being increased to 70%, which is pretty nice because their vision range at night can feel a little bit rough. With how much vision range is in the game, it feels like if you don't have it, you're a little bit punished by certain for playing characters that have a bad time when they get engaged on. They're adding unique passives to the games for item skills. A lot of the items stacked, and now they won't. An example is attack range no longer stacks for multiple attack range items. They're all unique passives now. Rest and recovery intervals. Resting is basically better now. That's all you need to know. You'll heal faster and you'll heal for more. So if you felt before that you were playing a tank and resting took forever, it's not so bad anymore. Rip long range Bernice. Yeah, Bernice and Aya were basically like in shambles from this. There's also like a Santa Muerta Dobok build that no longer will work basically because you won't get the attack range from Dobok anymore. Quality of life improvements. Display the items currently being crafted on Fastcraft to reduce accidental crafting. Improved visibility items in inventory. Unusable items will not be displaying an item slot number, I guess. Nikki's overall gameplay should feel smoother now. So Nikki changes. We're getting into the characters. Base defense increased. SP regen was decreased. SP per regen per level was decreased. She doesn't feel like she cares about her SP at all. Her W is being changed so that the attack does more damage now if you land it. It also has a lower cooldown, but the cooldown reduction on hit is being decreased to compensate. You can also now Q the skill during Q dash. So you can dash in with Nikki and like put it up. It's pretty interesting. Kind of similar to how Fiora can do in League, where she can like dash forward and parry at the same time, except it's not nearly as helpful, you know? E can now be queued while using ultimate. Fury Jab E had its damage decreased when enhanced, so keep that in mind. Ultimate had its damage increased by 50 base at all levels. Damage for enemies in path has also been increased by 25 per level, and then the delay was decreased. So ultimate should now be much more impactful and enticing to use over enhanced D. There will still obviously be times where we use enhanced D. It's still a good ability, but ultimate should be our go-to, hopefully. Lennox is receiving base attack speed buffs and SP per level. Good changes. It's not things that are going to push her over the level because she really doesn't care about her attack speed, so it just helps make sure that she can get off her passive in fights. Leon's W is having a damage reduction by 10% AP. So Leon has been doing a shit ton of damage. It's a pretty decent change and doesn't hurt the character in a big way. Rozzy is being given HP per level because she's been dying late game too often. Rozzy is kind of under the weather, I think, so it's a pretty good change and I'd like to see it. So pretty solid. Luke, his passive now includes Alpha and Omega, so technically he was buffed, but this is nothing. Ignore that. Lee Dylin's Q is having its cooldown reduced. Lee Dylin is very safe, and I guess they're wanting to pull back on that because her average rating is just a little too high. Or I guess low, depending on how you look at it. She's often getting like 7th or above compared to everyone else who's getting 8th or 9th is pretty solid. Rio has been struggling to deal with the tank meta. Because of that, they're buffing her defense reduction. I'm not sure that I feel like this is a good idea because we should be nerfing those tanks. But instead we're buffing Rio. If Rio's under the board across, then I guess it makes sense, especially with it being a targeted buff. It won't do as much against other characters as it would have tanks, so not a big deal, I guess. Magnus's E knockbacks distance is being reduced. I don't think this is a huge change, because in most cases you're able to actually, like, you can just angle yourself slightly and you won't get stunned, so this shouldn't change most interactions. This will be a very niche change, but I guess there are situations where you would lose because of it, you know? Barbara's stun duration is getting reduced, and the shield gain is getting reduced. Barbara has been really good lately, especially since people found out that if you RW, it immediately cancels your Cyclone, so you can get an instant stun. It's a big deal. It's what's basically set this character up to doing so well at the moment. Pretty interesting. Isol's passive is trap setup reduction is being brought down. Unimpactful to me. Alex is getting a base MS nerf, but he's getting 15% attack speed when maintaining 2 stacks of Q on ranged and melee. Kind of interesting. I really don't like the CMS nerfs because I feel like they're the most impactful nerfs in the game. And I feel like Alex is being nerfed for the sins of Pedal Torrent. So, hate to see it. William, his base HP regen is going up, and his ultimate balls will be spread a little farther out. I think that's really good because at the moment it feels like the balls get kind of put so close together that you really only need one of them to reposition, and the rest are just there to stack up your Q. Hyunwoo, a very interesting patch change. They're giving him base attack speed, which this may shift Hyunwoo away from playing Amp again and back more towards his bruiser attack builds. The big thing though is that all versions of Hyunwoo benefit from this because his passive. It just makes it a little bit easier for him to get it, but you don't need to land on an auto attack to proc dogfight, you just need to do damage. Pretty solid change though. I think it could end up giving Hyunwoo some different build options and diversity moving forward. Weapons. Smolder is being changed. Instead of enemy's current HP, it's being changed to max HP. This is kind of big because Smolder's problem right now is it's really good at killing tanks, but once the opponent gets to low HP, it doesn't really do anything. So this kind of fixes that. It'll do less damage up front, but its damage over time is much better because of that. I don't know if it's gonna be viable now, but I will do a little bit of testing with it just to see how it feels. Buddha's Palm is losing 4% CDR, but gaining 5% CDR cap. That's pretty interesting. So now we have a weapon that has a CDR cap increase on it, but it's a unique passive. So you cannot mix this with, for instance, the robes, and you can't mix it with Queen of Hearts because you'll just get their effects and you won't get anything out of it. Glock 48 is getting more attack power and attack range. And attack range is being changed to a unique passive, like I said, so you cannot stack multiple things that give attack range to just get huge range. Magnum Boa is having its vision range reduced. This is unimpactful. I don't think it changes anything at all. If you've been playing Pistolaya using Magnum Boa, you can keep playing it. It's not a big deal. Guitar, Teen Spirit. Teen Spirit is having attack range changed to a unique passive. You're gonna see this on everything. Cloak and Dagger, it's now cellular damage. This is big. Dagger skill's doing much less damage than it was before. Daggers, I don't think we're in a like insane spot. So Dagger characters are just hitting a hard nerf because of this. But, well, you know, I guess it'll be fine. This is a big change. Axe's weapon skill is being completely reworked. It's very similar to some new League of Legends items. I think it's called like Stride Breaker or something, the whips. So you activate it and you'll deal, you move and swing your axe in targeted direction, dealing 125% AP with 7% of target's max HP as cellular damage to all enemies in range. And you heal for 100% of that damage. It's huge. Helix deals 60% attack power as skill damage to wild animals and androids. So Jackie can use this if there's multiple animals around to just heal up completely. If you walk into a bunch of chickens and you D, it's gonna be a full fucking heal. So here's my thing. Nimble Neuron, I'm begging you now. Limit the healing on animals. For the love of God. Limit, like, make healing fucking 25% on animals. Please. You're doing some nasty shit with this. Moving on. Keep in mind this has a 0-second cooldown. A 0-second cooldown. So if this is real, okay? You can do this every 3 or 4 hits. You can literally do this every 3 attacks when it's level 2. 0-second cooldown. Chat. Axe Jackie is gonna be S tier. I'm telling you right now. Going into the next patch, Axe Jackie is going to be one of the best things in the fucking game. Get ready. I'm telling you, get ready. It's gonna be disgusting. All the axes have attack range, so those are changed to unique passives. This is disgusting. Harp is being changed. It now builds out of Jolly Roger. They've removed all its bonus stats, given it lifesteal, and it now has swift strides. I'm not entirely sure this is actually going to be a great axe. It may have some utility to it, but to be honest, I'm not sure it's worth building. I also don't understand why it's a fucking legendary. I think Harp is a downgrade as well, Sergeant. So let's just, this looks good? I don't think so. I think this is bad. Like, you gotta remember, it's not a bunch of AP. If we come into here and look on Jackie, Axe, it's hard. It's got 105 AP, right? But it's gonna be 105 AP with 12% lifesteal? Oh, for Axe Scale. Yeah, no, Axe Scale's busted. But like, this isn't gonna be that great. It's losing everything, right? It doesn't even have its healing reduction anymore. It's just Jolly Roger on a weapon. This isn't worth it. This isn't worth it at all. It needed to keep something from here, but I get it, it's a completely different weapon, so whatever. Assault rifles, moving on from Axe. Type 95 is gaining 5 AP, or 4 AP, because it hasn't existed in the meta for forever. There is finally a legendary assault rifle that builds out of a force core. It's 135 AP. It has a max ammo of 120, so you'll never fucking run out in a fight. It's insane. You won't have to reload before activating your assault rifle skill, which is huge. But it doesn't work for innate, so like this will just be a good upgrade from Type 95. You basically, this is just saying like, okay, I want to play crit. You know, I want to play crit AR, and you finally have an upgrade for it. Meteor Claymore is losing 6 AP but gaining 12% crit damage. I think this is actually a really good change for it. It does push this back into being a good weapon for Fiora again, and we may see more people building it. Monkey King Bar having its attack range made into unique. Same for that. Sharangra, or whatever the fuck this is, Sharanga is losing 12 AP and being given swift strides. I think that's kind of solid. You have to remember this is a ranged weapon, so you won't get the slow on hit, but it's pretty decent. I think we might see Nadine's build this. Dual Swords Rampage is also getting changed. So let's keep in mind, the first use of Dual Swords Rampage is exactly the same, but if you hit 4 or more hits, cast 2 is basically like the Yone Dash, right? It does pretty decent damage, as we can see here. Well, it doesn't tell us what the second, oh yeah, it's right here, 125% or 180% AP to all enemies in path. Also, it's now a channeled ability, which means you can be CC'd out of it. It's really big because it means that if you have some form of CC, you can actually CC Dual Swords Rampage. And if you do it fast enough, they'll lose their second hit of it, you know? This makes Dual Swords meta and team modes non-existent anymore. Rampage on trios. I mean, I think it could still be good. That's a lot of damage. And it also allows you to not have to like build flat amp to make it work. I think overall this is a good buff for it, you know? It's less damage, but it opens up other builds, and that's important. Yeah, it might be a nerf to like the amp like bomb that was Dual Swords Rampage, but you have to think we're just talking about just the descaling. If I'm building pure AP, I'm gonna be doing more damage with the rest of my kit rather than it just all being front loaded into one ability, which is both more healthy for the game and then outside of it. No. What do you mean no? That's a full yes. AP damage on Rampage was still more. Well, Elijah, that's not what I mean. I'm saying you're losing damage in dual swords, but you're gaining damage in the rest of your kit by being able to build more AP. Because dual swords had more AP ratio on it than it did before, but because of how dual swords Rampage work, you were basically forced to build flat amp to make this work well. If you didn't have flat amp, it did not do well at all, because it's so broken up. It's all in small percentages. Those each get affected by defense, so it's less damage across the board, right? Once you're allowed to build AP again, because this has a second high AP cast, Yugi's will be doing more damage outside the rest of their kit, rather than it just all being flooded into Dual Swords Rampage. He's gonna have more DPS at the end of the day, building more AP, rather than flat amp, because his auto attacks are gonna do more damage, right? Only happens against flat amp reduction. The defense calc is the same. Yeah, but you were talking about for AP. The AP is still gonna be, like, the AP ratio that was on the ability still gets reduced by defense. It doesn't get lumped in with the flat amp. I guess I see what you're saying on that end, though. But regardless, I am 100% sold that this is better than previous Dual Swords Rampage. And if you think it's not, then you're gonna have to prove it to me afterwards. Anyways. Nunchuck, Cerberus, attack range, change to unique. Shuriken, 3 AP is getting added on, and then attack range is unique as well. So Flechette is getting more damage. Could be CC now. I mean, yeah, but that's good. Weapon skill. So we get another weapon skill, sniper rifle change. Another weapon skill change for sniper rifle. Sniper rifle is now basically a skill shot. So the first hit when you land it, which is called crippling shot, is 100% to 120%, and it grounds the enemy for 4 seconds. After that, if you land that, you can cast Dead to Rights, which fires a destructive bullet that deals 120 or 100 to 200% or 125 to 250% based on missing HP. 7 auto sniper is an auto target. It is, but you can only cast it if you land the first one anyways. It is an auto target. The cooldown is 20 seconds to 15 seconds, and the range is 30 meters. Is it? Yeah, you can see, like, he doesn't have the skill indicator up when he's doing it here, so I'm 90% sure it's not a target. And even if it's not, the opponent's grounded. So I don't think it's a huge big deal. The idea for this, and behind their reasoning for this, is if you land the first shot, the second shot is supposed to be the killing shot, right? They don't want it to be where you have to shoot, like, you have to land both. This is going to be much more healthy of a weapon skill, and because of this, like, this is a good fucking chunk of damage. I think it's giving it a nice, solid identity. Old skill, but it's a huge nerf for Sniper Aya. It is, but at the same time, like, it has more utility to this, right? Because you can drop sniper skill, hit them with crippling shot, and then just immediately cancel it and close in on them, you know? So, like, it has more utility, and the cooldown is lower, right? If you were Aya, you wanted old skill? I don't know. From the people I've seen that play this, they all like this more, and we're not gonna know damage until we run it anyways, so. Anyways, attack range for intervention has been brought up by 0.25. Blackfire Cannon. So Blackfire Cannon's being added for snipers. It is a high AP sniper at 165. You lose attack range for it, but it only has 1 ammo slot. So on Bernice, this could be rough, but we'll probably end up testing it anyways. It is a Tree of Life weapon, so of course, you know, we'll see where it goes. Now, the big thing is that, it's getting a passive, we just don't know what yet, so they delayed it. I have a feeling it might get Smolder, and the problem might be that, like, Bernice is stacking it multiple times with a single auto, but we're gonna have to see until they add it. It's just a guess. There is a new weapon type on camera. Descale, flash your camera in target direction, dealing damage. Enemies facing you take 100 damage or 200 additional damage, right? The damage is 80 to 160 with 50 to 100% AP ratio, so pretty solid. It's basically like a Cassiopeia, but without CC. Well, I mean, it's got blind, right? But just everything else. So I'm not gonna go into recipes for these. I'm just gonna look basically at the epics. So we have one camera that's 2% amp per level with 43 attack power. We have another one that's 15% CDR with 50 AP. We have another one that's 40 AP with 0.5 attack range. And then we have, oh wait, no, this is the epic, sorry. 55 AP with 1 attack range. And HP, it's pretty solid. And then this is a ENAID camera with 66 AP. Now the interesting thing to go over with this is that, where's the scalings? It's in here somewhere. Right here. So here's the scalings for this, right? And I know I said we weren't gonna get into this, but keep in mind, camera is the only weapon in the game that has CDR on its weapon scaling, and I think that's huge for the character. This is obviously to replace the fact that Nathapon has locked attack speed scaling, so yeah. Pretty wild. Smoke bomb's charging time is getting reduced by 5 seconds, so you won't have to worry about charms on that as much. Wooden bow is being changed from needing branch to needing bow with piano wire, which is really nice. It's nice not having to build your weapon out of fucking shit on the ground from your base. But yeah, it's just, I like it quite a bit. Strongbow is having its AP buffed to 35. Its attack speed is being removed though. Scourge bow is having 4 of its flat amp being removed from it. Should have had it use pistol, by the way. Why? No, I disagree with that. We'll talk about that later, though. For cameras. There is a new rare bow for Moonstone. 15% skill amp, 80 AP. It has max HP, it has max SP. Vision range, of course, is pretty solid. It's nice that they're giving them something to do with Moonstone, because Moonstone on amp users has pretty much been a meme for a long time. Not much you can do with it. Other than make like a drink out of it, I guess. You don't know who would use this bow? I think she won't use it right away, but I think it could be solid on Heart, or not Heart, but Hyejin. I think it needs a buff before they use it, but it could be nice because it does give HP, so there may be some matchups where she'll want that over her other weapons, because she may not need more damage, she may need a little bit more HP to survive a burst combo. And then of course it could be solid on Nadine for Amp Nadine, and this could be an upgrade from Golden Ratio, but it's gonna need buffs in the meantime. It may be weak for now, right? But I think it's a good addition, and we can buff it up to power to along where they want it eventually. Suit is being changed from needing military suit to leather jacket, so basically instead of a branch you need a leather. No big change. Kui Pao is losing 20% SP regen. Dobok is losing that in return. It's also losing 5 AP, but it's gaining back that 0.4 attack range that it lost before, and being made to unique. High Priest robes, unique. Blazing Dress is having its ratios buffed by 1% again. Blazing Dress has just been shown to just not be good. They might eventually just fully rework this item if no one keeps using it. We'll see. Queen of Hearts, unique. Nightingale, 25%, 28 to 25%. Dobok Yuki is back. Yeah, Dobok Yuki is back. That's a big thing to know. Dobok Yuki did not build any other forms of attack range, and this is pretty much where he wanted it, so we're going to be seeing Dobok Yuki kind of come back again. It's not that it was like super bad, but he's getting the range he didn't have before, and that has made a difference, you know? Nightingale, so as we said, healing received is up by 5%. Still kind of meh, but we might see it more now. I think we'll see the boots instead, though. Dropnir is getting a 2% buff. Dropnir's fallen out of favor for things like Sajahan. Sajahan is gaining 3 AP, but losing a lot of HP. 85 HP is nothing to laugh at. But it is getting 6 more ENAID, right? Which is decent, or ENAID reduction. There is a new shield, which I'm actually really interested in, and we'll probably experiment with a lot. It's Steel Shield plus EPs. It has 20 AP, 20 defense, and 28% attack speed. I think this is really good. There's a lot of people who build Knight's Vow specifically for the attack and defense stat, and you're just gonna see every last one of those players transition over to this instead. Really nice. There's a new mithril arm piece. Broken Watch plus mithril will now make a Tellurian timepiece, I guess. It has 38 defense, and it comes with 0.12 MS, and then 12% CDR instead of 12% attack speed. Very solid. I think we'll be seeing a lot of people use this. It's basically EOD suit the arm piece, right? That's it. Nah, it doesn't really compare with EOD suit, but it's super good. There's a new VF blood sample arm piece. It gives 325 HP, but it also has this is Queen of Hearts, but for your arms. I will absolutely look into using this on some characters. This is nuts. This will allow you to like drop EOD suit for more aggressive chest pieces. But it's gonna be like so hard to know like what's the best way to go with this, because your arm piece almost always is giving you a lot of damage. It's one of the few offensive slots that we keep in the game, but this could open up your chest piece to being an offensive slot where your arm piece becomes a more defensive slot. There's the new shoes, clogs. I'm not gonna go over these too much, but if you pick up clogs, right? So if you pick up a snare, you can pick up a branch and make clogs. And then you can pick up a stone and make hiking boots. They're pretty solid MS for the beginning of the game at 0.28. Only 0.1 lower than most, some of the higher end boots, and only like 0.5 lower than some of the worst boots in the game. They of course get upgraded into taproots, which build out of first aid kits, which you can no longer make. So this is an RNG boot. I'm not sure why. It has 300 max HP, 0.38 movement speed, which is really nice. Top end of the game, and it gives 25% more healing receives. Pretty good. I think if you could build this, you would, but we can't, so I don't really know why it's in yet. I mean, if you kill Wickeline, you can make them, I guess, but I don't know. Maverick Runners getting 5 AP, Red Shoes is getting 5 AP, Boots of Hermes is having 0.05 MS added to it. Boots of Hermes has kind of fallen under the weather. Most people don't like to build it anymore, you know? So you can build a first aid kit. Juan doesn't know yet. Juan, you can no longer build first aid kits anymore. That's being removed from the game. So anyways, we'll see that further below, don't worry. Fire Helmet is having its recipe changed. Instead of needing water, it needs boiling water now. So basically you'll need to have a zone with a lighter in your inventory. This doesn't actually change most builds that look to make fire Moto Helm, but it does mean that Photo Helm, you can't just go to beach to build a one zone Moto Helm anymore, right? You're gonna have to go to docks or factory, which most builds do that do this. So it's not a huge overarching change, but it gets SP regen because of it. Moto Helm does not have SP regen though. Let's keep in mind it is getting some HP and vision range to compensate. Mohawk headgear is getting the SP regen, and it's losing HP though, but its thorn damage is being boosted, so yay. New headpiece, Vigilante. It is built out of Fire Helm with an enhanced mousetrap. Very interesting. We are seeing a lot more items using enhanced mousetrap lately instead of spiked plank. It has flat amp reduction. This is the first item in the game that does not require an RNG piece that builds flat amp reduction. Very important. It also has SP regen. I think that this could eventually create a real mage hate meta where like people are stacking just great defensive stats to deal with mages. We saw that for a very long time with Amazon's Banneret, and now we may see this with like Vigilante with Mithril's chests, you know, being the late game transition, because you'll be reducing the opponent's abilities by quite a bit. Adriana is literally in shambles right now. Chinese Upper Mask is being changed to a legendary, no one cares. Elysian Halo is being buffed by 5 AP, so yay. White Crane Fan is having its movement speed reduced. Magazine is having its HP reduced. This is because Magazine is ultimately adding, being given upgrades. White Crane Fan though, not gonna be a super big deal. Mages are gonna be a lot slower, but White Crane Fan is a super good accessory. Most people who want that are gonna run it anyways. Marksman Handbook, No one cares. Hawkeye, no one cares. Emerald Tablet is gaining 3% CDR. Pretty nice. Swift Strides on Gunbai is being nerfed. So Sanguine Gunbai is really good. And I don't think that this brings it out of being insane. So like, keep building it if you are building it. But keep in mind, we'll probably see another nerf next patch. Active Camouflage is being added. So it's Magazine plus Military Suit. But it's gonna have more HP than Magazine did by 60, and I think the E-Nade is up by... No, the E-Nade is the same. So it's no different than Magazine, but it has 60 more HP. Cool. Mithril Quiver is being added. This is big. Mithril Quiver has 12 defense, 22% attack speed, movement speed, and it has attack range. Now, there's a lot of characters that already run Quiver, and I highly anticipate that we're going to be this is going to see play from day one. There are some people that really just don't want to upgrade their arm piece to Mithril Shield because they're running Radar. They may be running a offensive chest piece like Butler's Suit, and those builds are often running Quiver anyway. So if they get Mithril, this is going to be an easy transition item for them. It gives them attack range, gives them MS, or keeps their MS at where it was, and it gives them some defense. I think this item is great. Now we're getting into the interesting things. Music Box. Box plus Motor gives us attack speed now and HP. Huge, I think. This I'm probably going to look to play myself on certain tank builds that I'm playing instead of Quiver. Yes, I will lose the attack speed or the movement speed, but this HP might be worth it. There was a long time where I was playing Tank Wu and I was building Magazine on it. And now I will probably just swap over to building this instead if I can find a way to incorporate it in. Kundala is of course being added as well. This uses Moonstone and Mithril, so if you get like an influx of stuff, or you just don't like any of the items offered by both of them, you can hold out for Kundala. It gives 185 HP, 1.5 vision range, 1 MS, and it has Bionic Infusion. When full, your next normal attack will deal 175% or 135% of your skill amp as extracellular damage. This is really good for mages. And gives them a way for them to deal it's basically Lich Bane on an accessory. Super solid. We'll probably see people build this if they can, and then if you ever get this out of a box as a mage, you're definitely going to use it. Keep in mind, if you're not a mage, you do have natural skill amp in your weapon scaling, so some weapons will be fine using this anyways. For instance, if we look at Hammer, late game Hammer will have 30% skill amp, so it'll be doing like 175% of that on this character, which is quite a bit of damage. It's only like, I think ends up being close to like 50, but whatever, or you know, it's still pretty solid. Oh, sorry. But anyways, I thought I had it on display, but I have it on this. Anyways, moving on. First aid kit. When you make first aid kits, you make 2 instead of 1. I don't know why they said amount crafted when they could have just made this say amount dropped, because it can no longer be crafted, as this says with the deletion of adhesive bandage. First aid kit is now changed to a drop only item. You just get it from Wick. It'll drop 2 instead of 1 now. Okay? Or a box, I guess. You can get lucky out of a blue crate with it. Citrus Cake is being nerfed. Why? This item sucks. Because Birthday Cake is being added. It is Citrus Cake plus egg. It gives 250 HP recovery. Pretty solid. So if you're doing, for instance, archery range hotel, you could make this, and it's pretty solid. I would highly recommend it. Baiju is being changed, which is the thing that builds into all the alcohols. It no longer requires lighter. Now it requires glass bottles. SP regions have been moved around to compensate for that. Cowling Liquor now is an 800 instead of a 1080. Keep in mind, Cowling Liquor still does need a lighter. Flower Liquor, though, is getting a buff, and it can stack up to 6 times. So if you build 2, you don't have like a random one left over. Herbal Liquor is being buffed up to 1080. So there's now a big difference between Flower Liquor and Herbal Liquor because the amount crafted is being lowered to 10. So basically what's happening is Herbal Liquor is taking the spot that Kaling used to have. Flower Liquor is now being buffed and being made into your like efficiency, and Herbal is being made your quality one. Okay, just changing the bottle. You're a bootlegger, right? Via Blood is being changed to Epic. Trail Camera, this is for Nathapon. All you need to know is it's camera with branch. It makes 2, and it turns invisible until people see it. Mithril String is being changed from 3 to 2, so if you have to use one of them for a weapon, then you're only getting 1 to use for like an actual trap, kind of whatever. Hidden Maiden is being changed from Spike Plank to an Enhanced Mousetrap. Pretty decent. Infinite damage is being buffed, so if you have to make something that needs an Enhanced Mousetrap, like the new headpiece, you can maybe do Jungle Guillotine? I don't know. Movement speed mastery is being nerfed, so people will have less movement speed out of combat, and the gimmicky like making a bunch of boots no longer gives you the same level of mastery that it did before. So you'll probably, if you were doing that before, I would stop making multiple pairs of boots just for movement mastery because of this. It's no longer as impactful. Adhesive bandage is being removed from the game. To compensate, items are being added in. We're also losing slippers from Hospital, and bread is being added. So if you used Hospital as basically a one-stop shop for Bucephalus, that's gone now. Sorry to say. You will not be able to do that anymore. You'll need like another zone, but that's being moved to Docks, which is having its bread removed, right? So now Docks can build boots, so you won't have to do like dock into Uptown and have to do feather boots. They're basically like gone at that point, right? Or yeah, that's your only option, sorry. But now you can do slippers into like something else. It's pretty interesting, and I do like this. It opens up new routing changes. You could do, for instance, like dock into Chapel, and then you just need cloth, right? Me on Cemetery, Hospital, Docks, War never changes. Yeah, that doesn't change. That build is exactly the same. If you're doing Beach, Dock, Hospital, same shit, but like you could now do Docks into Chapel into like a cloth zone, and you could make straitjackets, for instance. Mode balancing, I don't go over this, I don't know enough about it. Tutorial improvements, gameplay improvements, there's a lot of stuff on here. The only one that I've noticed that actually brings up a big idea, a big thing to me, is Unstoppable now correctly blocks slows. This might fix the Hyunwoo problem we were having for a long time. We don't know yet though, so we'll find out. But anyways, that's pretty much the patch. There's a lot of other things here, like character and weapon improvements. If you play these characters, please come take a look, because I'm not gonna go over all of these. And that's gonna be it for the patch rundown. Very interesting stuff, right? Pretty good patch. I'm excited to go into everything else that's coming up with it. And then yeah, from there we're going to move into Nathapon now. The reason I've said it all like this is in case it like wants to make a second video just for me going over Nathapon. So Nathapon, really interesting character. First thing I'd like to point out, Nathapon's attack speed is fixed, but his normal attack steal flat amp as extra skill damage. Plus 0.2 for every extra attack speed. So it's like if you build attack speed on him, you'll just deal more damage on your things. It's pretty interesting. Combining surveillance cameras with branch creates trail with infiltration effects. Infiltration after 3 seconds is revealed to enemies when they come within 4 meters. So yeah, he has specific cameras only he can craft. So it's cute. He takes a picture. Let me pull something up actually while we go over this. I'm gonna pull up the stuff for him, so we can look at his abilities and then compare them with. So this is his character model. We've seen those. So this is how his auto attacks look. Or is this the weapon skill? This is the auto attacks. I don't know why they didn't show the weapon skill. But anyways, it's probably further down. Those are the cameras. Yeah, this is his auto attack. Daily damage applies picturesque. Each attack of picturesque increases his damage. We can see that right here, right? Passive dealing damage applies picturesque. Each stack increases his damage up to 3 times by 3 up to 7% based on if you're maxing Q. So you absolutely max Q on this character. Enemies lose all stacks of picturesque when they lose vision, when he loses vision range of them. This is actually really big. Fighting him in houses with quarters is going to be huge because it's very easy to lose vision of someone pretty quickly. Enemies with 3 stacks of picturesque are slowed by 99%, decaying over 3 seconds. So he gets a quick little root after he gets all those stacks. You can kind of see it there, right? Pretty interesting. Damn it. Nathapon's Q snaps photograph of target area, dealing 70 to 150 damage with 40% AP ratios. Any aliens with 3%, we already saw that, sorry. Yeah, we can look at it here now. Oh, this is the ability, sorry. You can notice it on the ground there, right? That little, like, box. It's a very small skill shot, very similar to Cassiopeia. W, time lapse of the targeted area, dealing 70, 90, 110 to 150, so 70 to 150. AP of 40% per second to enemies and slowing them by 30%. Final photograph deals 60 to 140 with 80% AP as extra damage and roots the subject in frame for 2 seconds. So it is a root after it goes off. It has a cooldown of 20 to 114. Keep in mind his Q cooldown goes down to 3 seconds. We can see that here. So basically if you're in this circle when it ends, you get rooted. Pretty decent. It also applies a stack of picturesque, which is nice to know. E, Nathapon takes a photo with his telephoto lens in the targeted direction. Photographed enemies take 10 to 90 with 30% AP damage and are slowed by 50% for 1 second. If the photo captures an enemy, it'll leave a mark, and after 1.5 seconds, the next normal attack within 3.5 seconds deals additional damage and knocks them back to the mark. His attack range is increased up to 10 meters, and extra damage from slow shutter is applied to enemies marked by panorama. Mark disappears when the enemy is knocked back or moves more than 8 meters away. So you cannot, if the opponent gets CC'd by someone else, it'll knock them out of this. Very interested. Now, one last thing to note, like, this is very reminiscent of Kunkka's ability in fucking Dota, you know, but he has to trigger it with an auto attack. So it is a line skill shot. If the opponent gets hit, they'll go back to where they were hit at, and it does increase his attack range up to this. Fucking ridiculous, right? Huge. So there's no escape from this guy. The cooldown is 24 seconds to 20 seconds. So Nathapon will, it's Aatrox W, very similar, yeah. Nathapon will value CDR, but he doesn't want too much because one, his weapon scaling gives him CDR, and then as well, his Q really doesn't scale downwards, right? So he'll probably want to stack flat out. His ultimate snaps his photo of everything in targeted area after 1 second. All photographs are put in stasis for 2.5 seconds and unable to perform any action. The cooldown is 180 to 60 seconds. Photographed enemies gain 3 stacks of picturesque immediately. It has 10 meters. This ability sounds familiar to you. That's because it's Bartle. It's just Bartle. Yeah, it's a setup tool. Kinda neat. Not a big deal though. It's a great utility super. His weapon skill, flash. Turn on your flash in targeted direction. We've already read that. And it looks like this. I think. It's hard to tell. Like, they didn't really show it, but pretty sure that's what this is. Stop damage from outside sources as well too. I'm pretty sure you're invulnerable during it. Yeah, they're put into stasis and are unable to perform any action. I'm pretty sure they're invulnerable to damage. It can also stasis you. It can, yes, as they showed here. Nathapon teaming up on duos now. Oof, that'd be wild. But yeah, very interesting character. You can set up derby during ult. You absolutely can. It's got good utility. Very interesting character. And that's gonna be it for the patch, for the Nathapon. So I made a joke and I said like, hey, you know, I have a reaction for this, right? My reaction for this patch is a meme I'm sure a lot of people know. It's just this. I love this patch. This is great. Like, they've done so many good things with this patch, in my opinion. At the end of the day, we can get rid of that now. There's so much here for me to work with next patch. I have so much to theory craft, so much to figure out, like new builds, if things are gonna work or not. So we're gonna be busy. Be wary of Axe Jackies. Yeah, Axe Jackie's gonna be a fucking monster. Nerf the Jolly Roger Vajra Magnus that everyone's been hating on. Magnus got a lot of nerfs though, didn't? I mean, not in this, but like, I mean, they did nerf it. They nerfed crit damage by 10%, so it's losing 10% damage, you know? Fuck around with the axe and other meme shit. Facts, facts. They also nerfed his E range. But yeah, that's